Look, as you know, I am no fan of ICAC in New South Wales. But as you will recall, in relation to Gladys Berejiklian, ICAC found, wrongly I believe, that Gladys knew something of a criminal nature about Daryl Maguire, and she didn't report it. So it found that such knowledge of criminal behaviour and remaining silent amounted to corruption. Well, there's supposed to be a National Anti-Corruption Commission. Where does it stand in relation to the alleged knowledge of cabinet ministers way back in March 2014 of the mass murder, and that's what it was, of the passengers and crew on MH370, the Malaysian Airlines? A giant B777 cannot just disappear. Now it seems that the then Australian government wished it had. Prime Minister Tony Abbott is on the record as having been told on March 12, 2014, after the disappearance of this giant B777 with 238 people on board, Tony Abbott was told by the Malaysian Prime Minister that it was murder-suicide by the Muslim captain. The Malaysian government and police rapidly recanted to save face. But why did the Australian government prevent Tony Abbott from revealing this until October 2019, long after the sham search was over? An MH370 had been declared an accident, and that the apparently disturbed 53-year-old captain was not responsible. Prime Minister Abbott was apparently overruled by some senior ministers who are arguing a preposterous theory that the plane was over the South China Sea and it crashed in a death dive. This way, it seems, they could avoid searching in the area of latitude 39S in the southern Indian Ocean. At the time, senior airline captains with a lifetime of flying jet aircraft were arguing that the notion of this all being an hypoxia event, that is, suddenly absence of oxygen and everyone died, over the South China Sea was simply stupid. One of the men who has persisted with what seems a monstrous cover-up of the murder, which it was, of 238 people, is Byron Bailey, who has flown these aircraft, I don't know, thousands of times. He asserts that at the time, the Australian Transport Safety Bureau were directed by senior politicians, not Abbott, to not search latitude 39S, which experienced pilots believed would have been the ditching area. Byron Bailey and many of his ilk argue that several governments colluded to hide the fact of a mass murder of 238 passengers and crew by a Muslim captain. This despite them knowing what the Malaysian Prime Minister had told Tony Abbott on March 12, 2014, only a few days after the disappearance, that it was murder-suicide. As Byron Bailey rightly asks, why does government still block the freedom of information release of MH370 search documents? Why does the Australian Federal Police refuse to act on a lodged complaint against the now retired Deputy Prime Minister Warren Truss for, quote, dishonesty in public office? Why did the Queensland Attorney-General refuse to hold a coronial inquest into the deaths of 4 MH370 Queenslanders? Why did the ABC cancel the Four Corners program on MH370? And where is Ian Higgins, the author of The Hunt for MH370, the book launched by Dick Smith? Higgins mysteriously has disappeared.